All right, so we are going to use the quadratic formula to solve this problem that we've already solved. We know that the answers are going to end up being negative 3 over 2 and negative 2. So if we do everything right and the quadratic formula works, we'll get those answers. So let's get started. So the quadratic formula says negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. But wait a second, we need to remind ourselves what are a, what is b, and what is c. So you will remember that quadratic expressions can be shown as ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So in this expression here, that did take some amount of time to factor. What would our a value be? In this case, what is our a value? All right, Beth?
2.
It is 2. It's just the number in front of the x squared term. So we know that our a value is equal to 2. What is our b value? Now, these are great questions for people who don't like answering questions in math. Nick?
7.
It is, in fact, positive 7. And finally, what is our c value in this expression? Spencer? It is positive 6. So our a is 2, our b is 7, our c is 6. So we're going to rewrite the quadratic formula, but instead of using a's and b's, we are going to put in our numbers. Now obviously I'm not doing this for my health. If I think it's important enough to write it, you should be writing it. All right, so we have negative, well, what's our b value?
7.
So we have negative 7 plus or minus the square root. What's our b value again?
7.
So 7 squared minus 4 times 2, because that's our a value. And what's, Margot, what's our c value?
It's the 6.
It is 6. Make sure you're getting this down. And this is all over 2a. And what's our a value?
2.
All right. So now let's simplify this. We're going to start with the expression inside the square root bracket. That part is actually called the discriminant. And there will eventually be a lesson devoted to the discriminant. The discriminant will tell you how many answers you have, but that is going to be for a later day. So let's solve the discriminant. So what is 7 squared? 49. So we have 49 minus, what is 4 times 2 times 6? 4 times 2 times 6, Nick? 48. And then we're going to rewrite everything else. Plus or minus, we still have our negative 7. What is 2 times 2? 4. All right. And so now our next step is to finish the discriminant. What is 49 minus 48?
1.
1. What is the square root of 1?
1.
Okay. So we have 1 plus or minus, we still have the negative 7, and that's all over 4. All right. So we have reached the part in our quadratic expression that we are going to have to divide everything up into 2 worlds. We have the positive world, where the sun always shines, the water is warm, and there are unicorns.
Yay!
And if it rains chocolate from the sky. Skittles, fine.
Liquid condensed happiness.
It rains Skittles.
Yay!
So we have the positive world. We have positive world. And in positive world, we have a negative 7 plus 1. So I'm only using this plus. And that's still over 4. Now, the other world is negative land. Everyone walks around with a sour expression on their face. It's cold and rainy.
There's warheads. It rains warheads.
Seattle.
And it's just miserable. And yes, the weather is a lot like Seattle, but the city is a lot more like Cleveland. All right.
The city is all more like Cleveland.
I can say that because I grew up there. All right, so we have -7 minus, we're using that. My apologies to anyone from Seattle and Cleveland. -1 over 4. I'm sorry. All right.
My cousin's like New Jersey.
-7 plus 1. What is -7 plus 1?
-6.
So we have -6 over 4. Can this be reduced at all?
No, it's -3/2.
-3 over 2. So there's one of my solutions. Oh, OMG.
Oh snap!
Look at that. It's the same answer, isn't it?
No way.
It is. Let's see if everything worked out okay in negative land. So we have -7 minus 1. -7 minus 1 is?
-8. No way.
Way. -8 over 4 is?
This is creepy.
It's kind of amazing. The 8F also had the same reaction. They were pretty amazed that it ended up working. We got the same. We got the same answer. So what the beauty of this quadratic formula is, it will give you the solution for any quadratic. Now, if you're able to factor a quadratic expression and solve, that will be quicker. Obviously, the quadratic formula takes a fair amount of calculations, and it takes up space and takes up a little time. So if you're able to factor and solve, please factor and solve. But the advantage to the quadratic formula is this: it will give you solutions when you do not have whole number answers. So if you cannot factor a quadratic expression, you can still get the correct answer by using the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula will also work when your solutions are imaginary, which is something that we'll get into later this year as well.